Yay! And also we have a special guest. I mean, a wonderful spirit, a wonderful person. And actually her office is right under my office, one of my offices. And so I'm so excited to have her a part. Queen Bailey Brooks, yes, a licensed clinical social worker. So we're going to introduce her in a few minutes. So welcome, Queen. So glad that you're a part of us today. And my co-host is here today. Yay! You know, people been talking about you, Cookie. They've been talking about you. And so that's in a good way. It's good. It's good when people say good things about you. So they've been saying excellent things about you. So she's going to join us every fourth Saturday. Am I correct? And she has some wonderful things she's going to share with us today of what she has going on and what she's doing in the community and doing for women. So we're going to talk about women today. Of course, I'm a man, but I'm going to be listening in and chiming in some. But we definitely going to talk about relationships and things. And so we always want to begin with our therapeutic moments. And Cookie, if you would go ahead and read our affirmation, which is coming from the Daily Thoughts on the Hill, which is a publication of the of Hillside International Truth Center. Dr. Barbara L. King, shouts out to her, one of my spiritual leaders. Yes, and so if you would just read our, we call it our affirmation. If you would just read that for us now, and then we'll have a moment of prayer, and then we'll get started.
Absolutely. Our affirmation today, it says, I am deeply loved. God loves you so deeply, even so deeply, ever so deeply. This is the truth. Though there are bumps and bruises on the journey of life, nothing is catastrophic enough to deprive you of God's deep love. You do not need to work at it or stress yourself out trying to understand this love. Just allow yourself to experience the love from day to day. Simply ask, how can I serve today? And let the loving presence of the Most High God handle the details. True love is acceptance. It is freedom. I demonstrate this truth by accepting myself just as I am. I accept my light. I accept my shadow self. I accept that my existence is significant in the evolution of humanity. I affirm my journey, experiences, and relationships. I am grateful for the love of God that sustains me every day. Thank you. Faith in me, through me, as me, around me, through the Christ within, and so it is.
And so it is. I mean, that I am just loved. And the affirmation is, I am deeply loved. And with all that's going on in our community, all that's going on in our world, we have to remind ourselves that we are deeply loved by God.
Absolutely.
And then that love can then translate to each other.
Right.
But we have to first love ourselves. That's what it said. It said in the devotion, and that we have to accept that love is about acceptance and freedom, and then we can demonstrate that love to each other. Yes. So let us just bow in a moment of blessings and prayer. God, we thank you for this moment and this time. We thank you for just my co-host and our special guests today. And even as the words of this show are getting out, therapeutic moments that we have and experiences that we have, we don't know what people are experiencing out there that are listening to us, but just touch and bless them, even as we have our conversation, that the words of our mouth and the meditations of our heart may be acceptable in your sight, and that you would just send out words of love and healing and blessing. And even dealing with mental health. This whole show is about mental health. It's about awareness. It's about spirituality. And it's also about empowerment. And so, God, help us to follow our mission of what you've called us to do for such a time as this. And we give you thanks for what you have done and what you're doing in us, through us, and around us. In your name we pray. Amen. So today we have Queen Bailey Brooks. Yes. LCSW, licensed clinical social worker. And I met Queen a few years ago, and she actually moved right under me in my Smyrna office, right off of Concord Road here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have been hooked ever since. I mean, just her love. I've worked together on helping clients together. We've now served on a faith-based initiative group, and we'll be talking more about that in the upcoming shows. And so we're just so excited that you are a part of us today.
Yes.
But what I wanted to highlight, and she is the Chief Transformation Officer of a Holistic Approach, LLC. And but what I want to highlight from your bio is the fact that you work with the seniors.
I do.
And you have, and you have a specialty in dealing, we can talk about women in a few minutes, but you have a specialty in dealing with the seniors. And you always say, I love my seniors. Say that again. I love when you say that.
The elders are mine.
But we miss out on working with seniors, and even my years of hospice, I never thought about seniors for some reason dealing with mental health issues.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you could just highlight a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about women and relationships. But and we're going to bring you back if that's okay to talk about that, because we're missing out. But if you could give us just a little bit, a highlight of what we're missing out with seniors and how we just kind of say they're just getting old, or, and we push them off to the side. But a lot of our seniors are really struggling with a lot of mental health challenges.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to be here.
Yay!
Thank you, Chelselia. It's exciting to be able to talk about our elders, and our elders are so important. And I believe my passion has to do with growing up and knowing that we stand on the shoulders of our elders.
Wow.
If it's not for them, then we wouldn't be here. And in the area of mental health issues, there's a cliche that many therapists have said over the years, that today's victim is tomorrow's perpetrator. And we've heard that today's victim is tomorrow's perpetrator. Well, today's individual dealing with depression at 6, at 21, at 42, is tomorrow's elder dealing with depression at 76, 86, and 102. So it's very similar to me. The way we've put in resources and we've focused on our older adults, it's been limited in some ways, and sometimes we just say, oh, yes, it is a part of getting old, but it is not. It is a part of us really acknowledging that our older adults, our elders, there's life. I have often say to them, it's about living and doing it. Like, you just, okay, what's this chapter of your life? And what's the next thing that you're going to do? And challenging them and push them. And I stretch them just as I would with a client that's in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. I'm doing the same with our elders. I might sprinkle it with a little bit more love and make it so that they understand it. But I'm doing it. It's a therapeutic approach that sometimes doesn't have a lot of information written about it, because people just don't talk about our older. We don't talk about loss, not just loss of friendships, but loss of abilities, loss of neighborhoods, loss of environments, loss of families. There's so many losses that many older adults experience, and we sometimes don't talk about it. Late life depression is real, and we know that individuals could have said, I've had wonderful years, and now I'm at a point in my life and I'm getting depressed. Where did that come from? We often understand that we don't talk about depression when we're 20, 30, and 40, but so we definitely aren't talking about it when we're 70, 80, and 90. It's as if, no, we're just going to be okay. The days are gone where I think elders are just, we put them in one part of the house and that's where they stay and that's where they are. I think we've got to be really focused on making sure that we embrace our elders in every aspect of our life. And I think some of the reason we don't deal with our elders is because we just don't know. We just don't know them. We spent so much time on our 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s and said that's adulthood. But as our elders age, when you've seen one 76-year-old, you've seen one 76-year-old. When you've seen one person dealing with some type of Alzheimer's symptoms, you've seen one person. And that scares us. Because in our infinite wisdom and education,
there you go.
Knowledge,
there you go.
We stand on this place of I know, I've gone to school, I know older, I know people. And we don't like to hear that I really don't know older adults. Because a 60-year-old is not like a 70-year-old, not like a 90-year-old. And it's like, I got to keep learning, I got to keep stretching. I wasn't ready for that. I thought they just got old and they went away. And that's not the case. They are doing things that we we laugh about. They are, and I love learning from them. And it's a richness, it's a joy, and stretching them to keep teaching me, stretching them to move beyond the, you don't have a right to retire is what I tell them. You're not retired. What you doing now? We just got to do something now. God's not finished with you. We've got some things that we've got to keep doing and keep enriching the communities. And our older adults love it, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
When we have a caller, would you please state your name? There's a caller on the line from Atlanta. Maybe they just listening in. I don't know. Caller from Atlanta.
Is that my call, Brian?
Yes, it is. You live and on, Dr. Francis.
Yes.
Look,
yes.
I know we striking something for you. Good morning. I know we striking something for you. A hospice chaplain and a mentor in the doctoral program that I just I'm graduating from. Dr. Francis.
Yes.
Yes, I know you have something. Yes, I know you have something to say. And we're listening. You're live.
Well, this is so good to have this forum this morning. I really didn't have anything to say. I was calling in because my phone, the sound on the cell phone is low.
Okay.
I just called in on the phone to listen.
All right, but you can stay on, from there too, and people can still call in. So, you chime in if you have a question or anything, but we're going to definitely invite her back, and we'll also bring you back to, with your experience, in the as a hospice chaplain. And so exactly the conversation. So thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you.
All right, stay on. And we have Pam on. Hey, Pamela from Victory for the World Church. She's singing the choir. We have David on. Rosemary is joining us. Hello, everybody. Yes, and so please like, share, and this is a powerful conversation. So, Queen, we definitely going to bring you back for that because, that is a hot topic. So I'm going to turn it over now to Cookie to talk about women's, whatever y'all going to talk about dealing with women. I know it's about women. Yes. And I'm going to chime in when I can chime in, but I see a lot of things from my practice. So, definitely go ahead.
Yes. So if we're talking about therapeutic conversations, which is what this show is all about, we're going to actually pick up on a conversation that Queen and I had, and which was dealing with the relationships, the friendships, the bonds between women, among women, and what is the cause of the deterioration of the overall look, or what the look is of a friendship. Where did the hurt start and the healing end, or vice versa? Where did the healing stop, and the hurt begin? So what are the dynamics that bring that about, as far as this breakdown of, I don't do girlfriend relationships, I don't do women, I just hang around my crew, and I'm just to myself. Yes. And so that conversation, Queen, that you and I had spurred into other conversations that I had with other women, not because of our conversation, but separate from them completely. And this is obviously something that is being talked about, that there is a breakdown somewhere in this thing called relationships, friendships among women. And it affects other relationships,
definitely.
With our spouses, with our family members.
Absolutely.
It affects that. At work.
With our children.
Absolutely. So in our conversation that we had, we talked about the dynamics of that. Like, where does this hurt start, do you think?
I think that we have had some where did it start? Wow. So as a therapist, I often try to go back to not necessarily the origin, but when I begin to see patterns of behavior. And I often see that there was some type of trigger that occurred when we started defining what success was. And in that definition of success, there was success as an individual, not success as the village, not success as the tribe, or not success as a quilt. All three are analogies that I use that kind of mean having folk or things around us that keep us strong. And if I'm going to be successful, somehow, somewhere, some message came. I do it by myself.
By myself.
I'm going to go get this by myself. I'm going to be on my grind. I'm a strong black woman. I don't need no king, friend, mama, church. I'm good. And so there was this I don't even know if it was this slang, this colloquialism that just continued to ramp up. I would say hearing it a lot in the late 80s and the 90s. I'm a strong black woman, don't need nobody. Strong black woman don't need nobody.
Right.
And when you continue to hear that, and I'm sure other cultures probably said something similar, but my experience has been in the African American community. When you've heard that over and over and over again, what you began to believe was that it was just you. Somehow in there, we did sometimes try to lean and say, well, maybe I need the Lord or God or something, Jesus, Jehovah, somebody. So we kind of then said, well, maybe I'll bring the church in. But we still were on this grind of I'm a strong black woman, don't need nobody.
Right, because all I need is Jesus
all
now.
I need is Jesus now. If you continue to say that over and over and over again, just as Job said, the one thing that I fear is that one thing that comes to pass. If you continue to say, I don't need nobody, then what comes to pass is a mentality, an environment, an internal culture that doesn't support anybody. Because you told yourself that over and over and over. It even has come in, I know it's about sisters, but I think it has something to do with our divide as it becomes to building relationships. If all I need is myself, and mama has told me just grow up, get your own house, your own degree, your own this. So why am I looking at somebody to be in a relationship with me? If I don't really need you, because I've been told I'm all strong, then how can I now have a relationship with you? I can relate with you at work because I need something from you. I need you to help me with this project. I need you to fill out this form. I need you to pay me. But other than that, I really don't need you because really it's me. And I think we've used that same path of getting my grind. And I think the grind just actually made us in a desert of solitude. So it had we weren't naturally built to be in a desert in a silo. We were created to be together, just spiritually, intellectually. We're just social individuals. But if you've told yourself over and over and over again, I don't need anyone, the moment there is any kind of hiccup, a bend in the road, some confusion, I'm walking away. Because remember, I didn't need you anyway. The moment there was a misunderstanding, I just wasn't sure, a different perspective, I'm walking away. Because remember, I didn't need you anyway. So it continues to perpetuate this cycle that I think then leads us to this place of looking around. And I often say, wow, there is this topography of wounded sisters. We say we want to be together. We say we want to connect. But we are wounded sisters. So we'll go on vacation together, but just don't ask me anything personal. We'll work together, but just don't get anything too much. I'll let you be, we'll be each other's coaches and stuff, but I'm not going to really tell you what I'm feeling. We'll just hang out and we'll do dinner together, but I'm not really going to let you know who I am. So we now have these wounded individuals that are wonderful, wonderful creators of beautiful masks. So it's almost as if it's a desert of a masquerade party, if you could put that analogy together. Because we all have these masks on, because I don't need you. And then when we go home, it's back into a desert that is not loving and not supportive. But I'm going to run to you, even though I don't really need you. And I think that has had something to do with what's the sisterships. Where are our sisterships? And how are sisters so comfortable to say, I don't do women? I mean, I've heard sisters over and over, just casually, as if you're just saying, I like cappuccino, I like French vanilla, or I enjoy going to the lake. They'll say, no, I don't do women.
I just heard it recently. Like, recently. I mean,
and
it's very common.
Yes.
Very common. And there's that lack of trust because if I have an idea or something, a business I want to open or something I want to do, I don't want to tell you because I'm afraid that you're going to take my idea, or either I'm afraid that you're going to shoot it down. So I'm not going to say anything to you because I'm so guarded. But I go tell a complete stranger. Complete stranger. And they have no interest in seeing me do well or not. But the person that I'm supposed to be in covenant with, the person I'm supposed to have a friendship with, a relationship with, I'm good. And then I'm going home lonely and feeling like nobody cares about me. But you set up the wall. You got the brick and mortar, and you built the wall yourself.
The layers are there.
They're there. Most recently, this past week, and actually this is just one instance, but this is the most recent. I was speaking with a young lady, and her guardedness, she acknowledged, started when she was a little girl. And that first relationship with a woman that was supposed to be the most nurturing and the one that was supposed to be the most the closest to her,
Sure.
her mother, that was broken. That foundation was broken.
Sure.
So in growing up, the wall got taller and taller and taller and thicker and wider and broader. And so it is now, as an adult, the little girl in her wants that
Yes.
relationship,
Yes.
but the grown woman in her doesn't know how to get it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so she's dealing with little girl issues in an adult mind, an
As if
adult
we-
body.
Absolutely. Today, as I was preparing this morning, I just think God has an amazing sense of humor. It can be so creative. And I said, maybe we need to do these women play dates when we just learn how to be friends again. When we just learn to
Wow.
play. So when you come to the play date, you got to check your mask at the door.
At the
You don't
door.
even get to come in. And I even had this thought of maybe we could come together and we ask everyone to try to be trusting. And when you get to the door, everybody's given a blindfold. You hold my hand and I walk you to a seat.
Yes,
and
yes.
the entire maybe 15 or 20 minutes we talk, but we can't see the sisters next to us. But we just talk just to see what that would feel like to build a friendship without judgment, to build a connection without thinking you sizing me
my
up because I don't have on
Oh,
a
my
label,
goodness.
or you don't know what church I go to,
Right,
or you're not sure what I'm driving downstairs. You know what I mean?
I love
Zeros
it.
in my bank account.
Yes.
But maybe we gave everyone a blindfold, and you couldn't see. And if there was a wall beside them, we just kind of had them so that you couldn't see until the moment comes of we say, now look at your sisters next to you, and you get to see. Oh, I didn't notice. You didn't sound like you.
Right.
Oh, you said, maybe we could do something that would allow us to come together and really honor
That
the
is
sisterhood, as opposed to coming with judgments and perceptions.
Oh, that's so
Because I can't
powerful.
transform you coming through the door, but if I could just garner you to say, I trust you, I'll put the blindfold on. I know you'll take my hand. I'm going to sit you somewhere safe. You're trusting that nothing's happening. Nobody going to your Dooney and Burke. Your purse is fine. Nobody going to take your shoes. You're good.
Right.
You trust in this moment. And we
Yes.
dialogue for 15, 20 minutes about life or whatever. And then you take it off. And what would that feel like
Wow.
to see they're just like me?
Just like you.
That's it. I mean, I was
That
like,
needs
oh
to happen.
God, you better work this
That
out.
needs
But
to
that's what
happen.
came to me, like
Yes.
a play date when we come
Yes.
together
Wow.
and
Yes,
try
ma'am.
to disrupt what has happened to
Yes.
us. It's not about not needing anyone. It's about really fostering the solutions of how we rekindle and build and reestablish this support. Because if we are strong, healthy, nothing against you, Brian, at all, but we know strong, healthy sisters continue and make for a strong, healthy community.
Exactly.
We lean on
That's
you
the
for our
truth. That's the
foundation. We lean
truth.
on for you to have the parameters and keep us there. But when we're strong and
Yes.
healthy, we snatch back everything. We
Yes.
walk together as opposed to walking and not supporting.
Yes.
each other. So that was all God. It was
Wonderful.
one of those moments I'm like, oh, I want to know how can
You
I
better
make
get that
happen?
copyrighted. That's good. We have Eunice that joined us.
Good morning,
Barbara
Eunice.
Ingram.
Good
She's from
morning.
Victory. Hey, Barbara. And we have Pamela still, I think is still on. Do you have comments, questions? I mean, we're going to continue this conversation. We're talking about women relationships, and y'all are on it today. So I'm listening and learning. That's why I'm not saying anything. But and you can also call the show at 770-988-6461. That's 770-988-6461. Join the conversation. Send a comment. I mean, this is a powerful subject because you know when people are not connected, period, then this dysfunction
Absolutely.
carries on to the family.
Absolutely.
And think about the mothers that are raising children, mothers, you know, that are raising sons and daughters, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're passing this type of
Absolutely.
guarded, distorted type thinking and unhealthy, you know, behaviors
Right.
Absolutely.
onto their children.
Absolutely.
And because they're seeing those dynamics, don't trust people. You know, everything is self. And notice the personal piety.
Yes.
The personal piety is all about me.
It's all
Yeah.
about
And
me.
we definitely need to be self-aware, but
Right.
we're not talking about being arrogant or downing somebody else for your self-awareness. But I mean, but you're talking about making those connections. And Dr. Brene Brown talks about the lack, the shame.
Yes.
Think about it, men and women, but women, I see in my practice, carry a lot of shame and guilt.
Yes.
And then we foster that type of behavior. And then the lack of vulnerability. That's what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
talking
Yeah,
about
oh, yeah.
with the play date.
Right.
I like
Right.
that. I think
I
that's
love
across
that.
the
Yes,
board, even
yes,
with men. I mean,
yes.
we need to learn how to open up.
Yes.
because men are just as, more guarded, in my opinion and in my experience, than building those relationships and trusting each other. So I think it's powerful. So please call in. As I said, thank you all for joining for joining us. Please like, share this powerful conversation, awesome conversation. The number is 770-988-6461, or send us a comment on here. We would love to see your comments. And I see that, is it Eunice? I mean, it's hard for us to see sometimes from a distance. And she says, can you speak about the solution? She said she appreciates the insight, but she wants you to speak about the solution. And that's where we're going to get to. That's what I was going to ask. We see what is going on, and now she's asking, what is the solution? And you just offered one solution, so maybe that was earlier.
Absolutely.
There is one solution about that role play and practicing and allowing yourself to feel different experiences that you haven't felt before that are healthy experiences, nurturing and trusting and believing, and also supporting and helping. Words of affirmation, but also you said appropriate touch and just kind of feeling, comfortable and safe and without judgment. That's what I got from that. Even I'm a male, I got that from that, because men needed, that's a whole nother conversation with the men. We'll do that with the men. But anyway, let's continue the conversation, definitely. But I think that, we want to give them at least 3, little sound bites of the solution, because I think that's important too.
So I would say the very first thing that popped in mind, which is a solution that I often talk about with myself, with my clients, is be careful of what you speak.
Okay, let's stick with that one.
Just be careful of what you speak.
Be careful of what you speak.
Yes. So if we can no longer say, I don't do sisters, I don't do women, I don't do, just be just very ever present and mindful of what you're speaking about relationships. Relationships with women, relationships with yourself. Just be very careful. And so I guess the second then, because it's not just the first one, be the friend that you want to be.
Okay, so secondly, be the friend that you want to be.
And in order to be the friend that you want to be, you sometimes have to stretch your perspective of what that friendship looks like. Because we haven't always been the best with self-love and self-care.
Right.
So it may have you stretching where you are in that perception. You mentioned Brene Brown. And I actually keep it on my laptop. Brene Brown talked about the process of trusting.
Yes.
And she said that in her research, and I love the way that she put it together. She was saying that in her research, we don't have, there's a reason that we don't have certain healthy standards in our relationship.
Yes.
And she said that it was, and she called it braving. And she said so. And I would encourage individuals, if you've not seen her on YouTube, you can look her up. But Oprah, she talked about Oprah. She says with braving, and it was so powerful that there are it's the, what is it? Not the analogy. What is it when the word spells out something? It's
acronym.
The acronym. Thank you, my love. So what she said with braving, and when you think about it, I keep it on my laptop. I use it all the time because I really think there was something to it. There was something to the boundaries. The boundaries that people have with us. Are you maintaining healthy boundaries? And are you giving people a space to have appropriate boundaries with you? Reliable. Okay. Are you reliable? Let my yeses be my yeses and my no's be my no's. If you say you're going to do something, are you really going to do it? Right. If the person says that they want to do it, are you really expecting them to do it? She talks about us being accountable. Are you accountable? Are you, again, my yeses, and my no's, my no. If you say you're going to be somewhere, are you going to be there? And if not, do you give the person a window of 15 minutes or 30 minutes? Are you honoring your truth and saying, I'm not going to be able to make it? And if someone says that, wow, I really was depending on you, are you able to hear them and not say, don't be expecting me to do, but are you able to just be accountable? The vault is so essential with sisters. If you've talked about me, if you've talked about your cousins to me, if you've talked about your colleagues to me, if you talked about mom and them to me, you gonna talk about me to them. Right. So if I don't see you demonstrating an honor of the vault, how can I share me with you?
That's good.
Because you didn't value, I'm sure they didn't give you permission to tell their story.
Right.
But if I see you doing that, then I'm not sure that you can protect me.
Right.
So if the vault, if I know that you don't honor the vault,
good.
then I'm sure not sure. So am I honoring the vault? If you tell me your story, am I keeping it? I always say to individuals, before you tell me what someone said, did you have permission to author their story? If you've not had permission to tell me, then you don't need to tell me. Now, you can tell me I've learned from a conversation. I got insight from an interaction. What came, I had an aha moment dealing with some sister. That's good. But if you tell me, let me tell you what Sharon said. Oh, my goodness, let me tell you what Queens, and you didn't have permission, then I know you don't honor the vault. She went on and said integrity. Do I have integrity? Am I the same? And I define integrity as the same person that I speak is the same person I live, and it's the same person I give you. Love all the time. So if I don't have integrity, then how can I expect others to have it? Am I living fully with integrity? Like you see me loving you now, I'm going to love you later. You see? And if not, if someone says, and I remember my moment of in the office, Brian said to me one day, he came in, I know you're like, what?
Don't be telling on me.
Yes. So I'm not telling you a story. This is my experience. So Brian came in one day, and I was so busy working, and he stood at my desk and said, you didn't give me a hug. And at that moment, I had to check myself and realize that's me. That's my signature. When I see you, I'm always giving a hug.
You are.
I was so busy typing
that
the moment he came in, I was in me. He didn't know it. He started talking. I was listening. I was still doing, and he stopped and was like, well, where's my hug? Like, where's Queen? I need my hug. I said, got it. I didn't say to him, thank you for checking me. I'm not operating in integrity. But that was real. That was a moment for me to say, oh, if you've given it in the beginning, be consistent with giving it. Now, if I got a cold, I'm like, Brian, I'm dealing with something, I'm going to give up. But I'm still going to give him love. But he held me accountable. I didn't walk away from him. I didn't how do we think
he interrupted me.
He interrupted me. It wasn't. It was me operating with that place of integrity. She went on to say, am I non-judgmental?
My goodness.
Am I
and this is still Dr. Brene Brown.
Yeah,
that book. It's a book out.
Am I non-judgmental? Am I able to hear your story and not listen about what, girl, let me tell you, am I able to just receive you? I'm not saying it's broken. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just able to receive you. And if I can do that, am I giving the same? And then she wrapped up Braver and said, the spirit of generosity.
Oh, my goodness.
If you don't have, if I don't have a spirit of generosity,
oh, my
goodness. Don't have a spirit of generosity, how is that possible? If you're always looking for the next come up, you're always looking to network because you're going to buy something I got. You're going to help me sell my widget. But you're not just giving you away. How can we be trusted?
Wow.
So when she put it out there, I said, I love this brand. It's real. And there are probably some more aspects, but when you think about trusting and building a relationship, how can you do it if there are no boundaries?
Oh,
my
goodness.
How can you do it if there's no integrity?
Oh, my
goodness. How can you do it if you violate the vault?
Oh, my goodness.
When I use that as my model, so I hope, Sister Eunice, that makes sense. Those are some concrete ones that I also use. As the first one that was, I said that I'm going to be open and I'm going to receive what it is. I'm going to be the sister that I want to be, and I'm going to be mindful of what I speak. Because I want you to see a loving sister. I want you to see me and say, I want her to be that friend, because that's what I'm looking for in you.
Well, and see, that's spiritual, and it's a spiritual principle. Whoever wants a friend got to show themselves friendly. And that is so powerful in because you're talking about spirituality here. Because we all are connected to this, but how we speak words, we got to be very careful with our words of what we're speaking over ourselves and also what we're saying about other people. And I think that is because we're putting energy out in, if we can use that term, out into the universe when we speak. And what we sow is what we reap, what comes upon us as well, as you said earlier. So I'm right on, but I love these three parts: being careful what we speak, being the friend that we want to be. People, and we've been talking about relationships on here this month. And I was saying the same thing, is that you can't have these expectations of a partner, for example, that you can't keep. You want a partner to be Superman or Superwoman, but then you ain't Superman or Superwoman. You know what I'm saying?
Or, Brian, even that you haven't shared. Because if you have expectations and you haven't shared it with me for me to say, yes, I want to meet that expectation, that's still unfair.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know that you have those expectations.
Yes.
But you're disappointed because you didn't share your expectation with me
Exactly.
and I didn't co-sign to fulfill it.
Yes, and that's what we've been talking about, is really being clear about our expectations.
Yes.
And even last week we had, was the last week or the week before, we had Sharon Jameson on it,
wonderful.
and she was talking about the same thing about, and then we listened to Tony Robbins
Yes.
and his interview with a lady, and how we set these expectations and of in intimate relationships that they're supposed to be the savior, basically, either parts, man or woman. I mean, having these type of relationships, that are just unhealthy and unrealistic. But you also said something else about boundaries. We've been talking about establishing boundaries, and that counseling can also help you to establish those boundaries. And that is just so powerful, powerful, powerful. So just confirmation to what we've been talking about this month, and the accountability piece.
Yes.
And counseling also helps, mental health counseling helps you to establish those boundaries, effective boundaries, and being clear about your boundaries. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of times in the relationship counseling that I'm doing, is that people are not clear about the boundaries. And expectations.
I think when you're just saying the counseling, the piece that also comes to mind is being willing to just take the mask off.
Yes.
So when you come to see a therapist, when you're working with us, some of us will challenge you, and I think it's great. Are you ready to take the mask off? Because if you're not willing to be open and to see it, then it's going to be hard. Then you're going to continue down that path. But if you're willing to take the mask off, if you're willing to be vulnerable, then I will create a safe space for you.
Right.
I'm going to help you take that mask off.
Yes.
Do a little burn party later.
Yes,
Get
Eunice
rid of
wants
that
the
thing.
phone number. Eunice, the phone number 770-988-6461. 770-988-6461.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
You were
being
speaking.
Yes, sorry,
You were
go ahead.
speaking about the mask, and then
Yes.
you were speaking about the perceptions or the accountability for yourself.
Yes.
And I remembered a few years ago I did an event called Restoring My Broken Mask. And what it was, that we had blank masks. They were actual masks. They
Yes.
were all white.
Yes.
And what we did was we asked the ladies, there were all ladies,
Yes.
sorry. It was all ladies. And on the outside of the
Go
mask,
ahead.
I had them to draw how they think people see them. On the inside of the mask, I asked them to draw how they saw themselves.
Awesome.
The inside and the outside of those masks look so different.
Yes.
The outside, they took time to draw. It used different colors,
I
and it
can
was just so
imagine.
beautiful.
Yes.
The inside, many of them used only one color, and it was just kind of
Yes.
a mess. And you talked about the expectations that we put on other people, but the expectations we put on ourselves
Yes.
is so heavy that
Yes.
we put these high expectations. Well, they want me to look a certain way. I have
Yes.
I have to do this a certain way. I have to
Yes.
be a certain way. I have to speak a certain way. I have to carry a certain bag. I got to walk a certain way.
Yes.
I have to, do a certain. And so these expectations are on us. And so that when we come in contact with someone where we feel as though in our own perception that we are inferior to them, or we feel as though that we don't live up to what we perceive them to be, we put up that guard and say, I can't, this might be the very person that you need to connect with, but because of your perception of who you are is so limited that you don't even go to engage with that sister. You don't go to reach out to that sister, because the very thing that you're needing, she probably has in her hand.
Wow.
But you don't want to do it because their inner perception is that I don't meet. The mirror that I'm looking in is distorted. It's like a funhouse mirror.
When you said it, so Brian, we had the two, and I said, God, there's one that I'm missing. The third is being vulnerable.
Oh.
The third
Right.
is being vulnerable.
Wow.
And I'm just going to shake in mind, wanting a sister friend, I had to be willing to make the phone call or to send the text that just simply said, I love your energy. Can I meet you? That was it. But I had to be vulnerable.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
she'll say no.
Yes.
She's gonna be busy. She
Now
gonna
you
say,
preaching
who do you
now.
think it is?
Reverend, you
preaching?
preaching. Go ahead.
Why are you
Preach,
reaching out to
preach.
me? Who do you think I'll have to? But I had to be vulnerable. And
Yes.
say, I just want to meet you. Can we meet? That was it. I sent a text to a sister that just said, I don't know if you know any other sisters that might be looking for a friend, but if you know any, tell them I'm looking for a friend.
All right, we have a caller.
Okay.
Caller.
Wow. Okay.
Please state your name. You're live. I think they hung up. They were there.
Oh, call back.
The number 770-988-6461, 770-988-6461. I'll try to catch it as soon as you call, if you call back, okay? All right, continue on.
But I just think
vulnerability.
That's the third one. We have to be vulnerable. Not, I'm waiting for her to be there. I'm waiting for her to show up. I'm waiting. No, I've got to be vulnerable.
Yes.
And so, Eunice, if I see you and it's that connection, I'm trusting it, because being vulnerable is spiritual to me.
Yes.
It is me saying, okay, God is all of you and none of me. Right. It's trusting that if that person's there and it resonates with me, I'm going for it. Now I'm allowing myself to be. I'm led by God. I'm open. So some say vulnerable is a bad thing. I look at it as it's me and God walking hand in hand.
Yes, yes.
All right, the ancestors got me. We're going to do this. I'm vulnerable, but I'm so excited.
Yes.
Because what is there is what you just said. She has it right in her hand. Right? What I need is in her hand. Right. But she doesn't know I need it because I'm not vulnerable enough to let her know. I haven't told her, I need you.
Wow.
I need you to survive. I need you. Yes. It's not about just strong black woman. I need you. Yes. I need you.
Okay,
caller. He's back.
Yeah, somebody's back. Caller, you're live. Therapeutic Conversation Show. It's an Atlanta number. They there. I think they're saying something. Let me make sure. Just stay on the line. They caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're live on the Therapeutic Conversation
Hi.
Show.
My name is Pearl Massey.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you for joining
Hello
in.
to my special friend, Miss Payne.
Hello, Pearl. Good morning, my love.
I am enjoying the show, and please, Miss Queen, do that women play date. We need that.
Oh,
great information.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. We will do it.
Yeah, I told her.
I'll hang up and continue to listen. This is good stuff.
Thank you for joining us. Continue to follow us and like us on Facebook, okay? Thank you.
I will.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care now. Bye-bye. Yay.
Thanks, Miss Pearl.
Yes.
Eunice said repeat the number. Eunice, then you're going to have to call in. 770-988-6461. We need to hear from you because I know you've got something to say. So we're going to definitely wait for you. 770-988-6461. And I'm going to get him next time to put it in the comments so then it'll just show up. But it's 770-988-6461. 770-988-6461. And if you call in, I'll see you and keep it on the screen so we can see her pop up, hopefully. Yes. If not this session that, because she's followed us before. Do you know her? Okay, you don't know her yet, but she's followed us before, so hopefully. Somebody's calling in. You're caller to your live. Caller.
Yes, this is Dr. Eunice Hale.
Yes, I'm sorry. We've been looking we probably mispronouncing your name. Hey, Dr. Hale.
Thank you.
You have a comment?
I had originally wanted the phone number because it's hard to hear.
Oh, okay.
But since I'm on, I do have, I enjoyed the whole broadcast.
Yes.
And there were so many good comments. But one thing I wanted to add was, or just make a comment on when you were talking about boundaries and being able to communicate with women. And women are very, it can be very tricky and difficult at times. I have 8 sisters, so I had a lot of practice. And I think one of the keys that I learned is everybody has a different personality, and you have to be able to know how to reach people and how to connect. Some people are not trustworthy, so you can't trust your heart with them. But there is something that you can get out of everybody. Absolutely. It's just the key. And when you were talking about boundaries, setting up those boundaries and knowing when to speak and when not to speak, what to share, when to share it, and I think you have to be in a place of wholeness to even know that.
Oh.
But if you're broken, you don't know who to trust, and it further, I mean, you get even more wounds from those relationships. This is why I think a lot of women say they don't want to deal with women because they didn't have the boundaries up and they were trusting women who were broken.
Sure.
And you can't give what you don't have.
Right.
So true.
So I think I just wanted to comment on that and just say I appreciate the show and I appreciate what you're doing with women because a lot of times I've heard that women were not trustworthy.
Wow.
Some are and some are not. So that can set the stage. And that mother relationship is very, very important.
Yes.
But I will say that I had a father that could balance that out. And that's the key. That's the key. It can't just be all women. It has to be both, male and female.
Of course.
To get some kind of a balance out of people.
Wow. All right. We have another caller. Thank you, Dr. Hale, for calling. We got to get you on the show. You sound like you have a lot of insight. We have a caller from Virginia on the line. I think I know who this is. Caller, please state your name from Virginia.
This is William Hunter Anderson.
That's my stepfather, everybody. Excellent. Is my mom nearby?
She's right there.
Can she say hello to everybody real quick before we get off the air? This is my mom, Etta Holmes Anderson.
Hey, Mom.
Hello.
You going to say hello?
Relationship is very, very...
Mom?
Hello?
Hey, Mother.
Good morning, Mom.
Good morning.
Hey.
You want to say something? You live on the Therapeutic Conversation Show with your son. You want to say something? Did you want to say something?
I am enjoying the show.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? My mom is so shy.
I love it.
People listening to you. Anything?
Okay.
Anything else you want to say? Can you? Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yes.
All right. Mom didn't have anything else to say. It's just that she enjoying the show. All right. William, you have something to add?
Congratulations on your endeavor.
Thank you. I said, you have anything to add to the conversation? Now. All right. Thank you.
And the best to you.
All right. I appreciate you. I love you all. All right. Thank you. All right. So vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
Yes.
That is, and we don't foster that in across the board about, and we don't even teach children how to be vulnerable. That's what I was thinking about as you were saying those things. So we got to have some workshops around what does it mean to be vulnerable and open. And I like what Dr. Hale said about being very careful to, to just kind of watch those, as she was saying that we got to be careful how we can create a safe place, because sometimes when people do open up, they can be hurt. That's the point that I was making.
And that's one of the things
I thought that was powerful. Go ahead.
That's one of the things that when I do speak with women, because my organization deals mainly with women, is how what I do is, just as you were speaking about it earlier, Brian, is I direct them to a therapist. I direct them to a counselor. I direct them to a coach, because sometimes that initial starting out, that initial tearing down of that wall of invulnerability begins with getting someone who is a therapist who is licensed and who can talk you through this thing to help chisel away at whatever it is that is causing that wall to be put up.
Wow.
So a lot of times in these conversations that I'm having with these women, I don't have the remedy at that moment that they're needing, because what they're needing takes a little bit more. It takes someone sitting down, because it goes down deeper and farther than just us just having a girlfriend's conversation.
Wow.
And so I refer them to someone that can counsel them, that can give them the therapy that they need, so that they can go out and have healthy relationships, not only friendships, but in their marriages and with their children.
Yes.
So that's important, understanding that there is that one person, that therapist, that counselor that you can be vulnerable with, and they can give you the tools, as Queen was just sharing, that can help you to perpetuate the very relationship, to be the friend that you want to be, first to yourself and then to others.
Yes.
When you know who you are, and I love what Dr. Eunice was saying.
Yes.
I was writing down.
We got to get her on. We got to get you. Please email me. Dr. Hale, please email me. You are on it. And I know you've been following for a while. I don't know whether we know each other or not, but I know we know each other.
Yes, we do.
You know, and we got to get you on this show. So please email me. Send me a message. BrianJonesLPC@gmail.com. That's Brian with the Y. JonesLPC@gmail.com. Please shoot me an email with your information. We definitely want to get you on, and you can, come on and talk about that.
Yes.
When she was making reference to studying the person and to thy own self be true and really being clear, it is not for me to say you've got to accept the love that I give because this is my capacity to give it.
Right.
That place of vulnerability for me is me taking the time to know you, me taking the time to use the language that works for you, me taking the time to really say, it's not about me, but it's about me connecting with you. Right. And that also is that place. But if you're not trusting, because you got the wall up, it's going to be hard. So when individuals come to a counselor or a therapist and say, I'm having a hard time building relationships, it's more of, okay, tell me where you are and what is it that you want to get beyond, or where do you want to get to be with relationships? Because sometimes, Brian, they can tell us that it's always somebody out there. And then I was
blaming other people.
I get it. They're out there, but they're not here in this room with us.
Yes.
So because it's just you and I in this office, we probably need to bring it back home.
Exactly.
So who is it that we want to talk about?
Exactly.
You come to me, so I'm thinking it might be you.
Yeah.
How do we make it a comfortable place?
I'm going to use that one. I like that. Because, look, we're number big kids anyway.
We are. So
oh, my goodness.
If we make it about us, knowing to be vulnerable enough to come to a therapist and a counselor, I truly believe therapy and counseling is the ultimate form of self-care.
Yes, it is.
The ultimate form of self-care.
Yes,
and we gotta weave it in.
And we got it. We're having a wonderful time here, but we got to wrap this up. But I want to make sure that people get your contact information.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, so if you could tell people how to reach you.
Oh, yes. So the name of the company is A Holistic Approach, and I'm A, and Holistic is WHOLISTIC Approach LLC. I am here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. The contact number is 404-491-6905.
And say that again.
Okay, 404-491-6905. That's at the office, and you're welcome to email me as well at mqueenbailey@hotmail.com.
Wonderful. And so they can reach you, there, and you offer services, and, in office, you do special.
And now a play date. I'm going to be creating that play date.
Now, you better copyright that. You've already put that out on there.
I will do
you've already put that out there already. And so tell people you're doing some awesome things.
There's some things coming up. So, actually, we have quarterly a mental health and ministry chat and chew.
Chat and chew.
Yes.
Are y'all copywriting this stuff? People going to start using. They're going to be chat and chews at these churches. We deal with the churches.
They're already out there, so I can't claim to that. That's already out there.
But Pain in the Pews is copyrighted.
Yes. Pain in the Pews.
It's copyrighted. It's copyrighted. It's going to be.
I've submitted the paperwork. Trust me. Pain in the Pews. I submitted the paperwork because of you. The first time we met,
I told you better copyright because I was going to use it. Because it's powerful. That's a powerful word right there. Go ahead.
So Pain in the Pews, Mental Health and Ministry, our quarterly chat and chew, and Queen will be our guest for that one.
Yay! When is it?
That is going to be March the 10th. And on our website and on social media right here, Pain and Glory, PAYNE, and Glory, you'll find it there. We also have coming up next month, we have February the 10th, What's a Girl to Do?
Oh.
And what that is for young ladies, teen girls up to 24 years old.
Wonderful.
And that is actually Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So we're going to be talking about that as well as self-love.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about HPV. We're going to be talking about things that we don't talk about.
Yes.
We're going to talk about trafficking. We're going to talk about it. So
Wonderful.
that's going to be next month.
Yes.
So you can reach us at painandglory.com.
Yes.
PAYNEANDGLORY.
Yes.
therapeutic.com, and we're here, same here on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook.
Yes, well, thank you all today for joining us. And you, of course, please like Therapeutic Conversation Show on Facebook.
Yes.
Like the Joshua Generation Care and Consulting Services, which is my private practice.
Yes.
You can even befriend me on Facebook, Brian Jones, right on Facebook, and follow me and see what I'm doing. And, you know, please get the services that you need. This show is all about conversations around mental health awareness, spirituality, and empowerment, and telling your story. So we've had an awesome time. Queen, thank you for our guest and my co-host. She's every fourth Saturday here with me, adding light and peace and just your spirit. And I'm just we got to do this again.
This is good.
And I'm so excited. And Queen, thank you for those nuggets.
On the play date.
Yes. And for those nuggets that you dropped on us, and for your love and for your peace, and just being you, just being authentic. I just love it, and the love and the peace and your support too of the show. So please like the show. Please share this wonderful conversation with others that may not get up at 9 o'clock and watch it. Please share. Please like. Please reach out to us. Send us some comments. Please support 108 Praise Radio. Courtney and the staff here are wonderful. Please look at other shows. Everybody got a different angle, a different way of looking, but we're voicing the gospel here and the good news of Jesus. And so, you know, we have different forms and different ways of doing it, but that's what we're all about. So thank you all. Take care of yourself this week. I'll see you next week, and we will continue with the conversation. And we're talking about mental health in you in 2018, and mental health as you, because we need to show and be healthy in everything that we do. So thank you. I'm Brian Jones, LPC, Therapeutic Conversation Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like us on Facebook and follow me on Facebook. And also the Joshua Generation Care and Consulting Services, where we will be having some workshops and all kinds of free things that we're going to be doing to raise mental health awareness, especially in spiritual and religious communities. That's what we're about. So let's celebrate. Mom, thank you for calling, and my mom for supporting the show. She's so shy, but she got on the phone and she said hello to her son. So love you, Mom. Mom just celebrated a birthday. I put it all on Facebook. I'm telling her age, 75. I'm just glad that she is still here, that she is still with me and loving me, and financially also supporting the program. And that's, Mom is go. So we love you, appreciate you, and I thank God for you. Please share, like, and we'll see you next week. Take care now. Therapeutic Conversation Show, Brian Jones, LPC. Thank you.